Another legal hurdle tonight after Virginia voters approved a congressional map that gives Democrats the edge in the upcoming midterm elections. A judge just blocked the state from certifying last night's redistricting results. He cited multiple reasons, including what he calls misleading language on the ballot and that the legislature did not follow its own rules for passing the referendum. The Virginia Supreme Court, though, will ultimately decide the issue in the coming weeks. In the meantime, President Trump and MAGA are melting down. Trump basically claimed that the election was rigged and blamed mail-in ballots, while Ari Fleischer, who's usually pretty friendly to Trump and very friendly to Republicans, says, I should also point out that the GOP will now lose net seats across the country. If you're going to pick a fight, at least win it. The other side will always fight back. All of this was foreseeable and avoidable. We should not have started. Sure, Michael, you're a Virginian.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's kind of unfortunate. I mean, history is on the side of Democrats. We already know that. The party of the president typically loses seats in the House. You look at the president's approval ratings. Mathematically, that also has implications in terms of what that net loss could be. So the question, if you're a strategist on the Republican side, is how do you diminish what those losses potentially are? And the gerrymandering, which is pretty unprecedented, makes it really, really difficult to factor in multiple variables to see, well, will Dems have a 25-seat, 30-seat loss, or will it be slightly less? I think it may be slightly less. You still have the Supreme Court and their ruling coming soon on Section 2 of the voting rights. That could have serious implications, particularly in a lot of southern states. So I don't really know how this is going to play out.
Should they have done it, is the question.
No, I don't think so. I think reducing the incentive to compromise is just not good for the country. No one wins here in the long run, neither side.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I just feel like they took one of the most balanced places in the country and they just totally disenfranchised Republicans. So, I personally, what? Do you disagree?
Virginia?
Yeah. Yes, it's a purple state.
What about Texas and
I
Missouri?
don't agree with that either. Sure, Michael and I were discussing
Illinois,
an agreement.
New York,
Gerrymandering is a problem, a bipartisan problem.
Can I ask a question? When Texas was happening, you were not hearing Republicans say that this was a problem for our democracy. That
I agree with you.
And I think that, and Republicans didn't stand up to Donald Trump either. And Republicans in Texas and across the country had the opportunity to say no to Donald Trump. But for some reason, they do not have a spine to stick up to him. And nobody wanted to tell him no. And now we're in the situation where I agree with you. We shouldn't be doing this anywhere. But Donald Trump put us in this position. And it, frankly, is because no one would tell him no. And now Republicans are saying, oh, but our democracy.
But Sochi, I think the issue with Virginia, though, after Texas, California passed their referendum, and it pretty much equaled everything out. I think the issue here with Virginia is that they're only leaving one Republican congressional district. Now, of the 5 districts that Texas will get, they're not Republicans, that is, won't win all 5 of them. Hell, we'll be lucky if we win 2 out of the 5. More than likely, Democrats will win 3 because they're mostly in Hispanic areas. So this is backfiring
two parts of that
in terms of expectations.
Two parts of that are important. One, it's not just California and Texas evening themselves out.
Other states, sure, but many have declined.
Many have declined, but other states are actively moving to give Republicans an advantage. So now, with Virginia, we're actually in a more even place where the advantage is probably neutralized.
Well, Dems will have about a 9-seat advantage, though, Abby.
No. According to a lot of the people who look very closely at all these different districts, when you add up all the Republican changes and all the Democratic changes, now we're virtually at net zero in terms of partisan advantage at the district level. That's not including, but that's not including your other point, which is that some of these districts are not as competitive or as non-competitive as Republicans would like. And Hakeem Jeffries, the speaker, or the Democratic leader, he issued a warning to Florida, specifically to Ron DeSantis. And here's Jeffries and DeSantis responding.
Our message to Florida Republicans is F around and find out. The Republicans are dummy-mandering their way into the minority before a single vote is cast because they started this war and we're going to finish it.
Please be my guest. I will pay for you to come down to Florida and campaign. I'll put you up in the Florida governor's mansion. We'll take you fishing. We'll do all this stuff. There's nothing that could be better for Republicans in Florida than to see Hakeem Jeffries, everywhere around this state.
It's not going to be everywhere, though, because Jeffries is talking about Mario Diaz-Balart, Maria Elvira Salazar, Carlos Jimenez, Kat McCamick. These are Republicans who are, some of them in southern Florida districts that are endangered now. It is going to be a tricky landscape in some parts of Florida.
It is in a few places, and Jeffries is smart. He knows the districts. He's not going to just go insert himself in places where he doesn't need to be. And frankly, this whole debate is really stupid between Jeffries and DeSantis. But the true problem here is that we didn't get to this before. Is that the Democrats in California and in Virginia put the question to the voters.
Sure.
And they didn't do that in Texas. They're not planning on doing that in Florida. They didn't do that in Missouri or Ohio either. Republicans decided we want to change the rules.
The net result is the same, though, Keith.
But Republicans decided that they didn't believe in the voters. They chose to make a decision to.
You're making a process argument. It's a process argument.
Listen to what I have to say.
Okay.
Your party, people in your party, governors, chose to ignore the will of the voters because Donald Trump told them to do so. The Democrats at least trusted the voters enough to go to them in California and in Virginia and say, please tell us, do you support this or not?
Keith, okay,
Don't tell me it's just about process.
but it is about process.
Democracy.
It is about process. Let's not be intellectually lazy here. It is about process. And then number two, the net result is the same damn thing, Keith.
You just said
it's the same thing.
You just said
you're making an emotional argument over the same thing,
don't
man.
Accuse me of being
come
emotional
on, give me a break
because you disagree with everything I
No, it's
said,
not that I disagree with what you're saying.
I'm getting
the net
emotional
result
listening.
is the same.
Did anyone notice how narrow the margin was?
It's not good if it's coming from your side or my side. The net result is the same.
I'm not.
Go ahead with your point.
Did anyone notice how Spanberger barely eked out this victory in Virginia when everyone was? It should have been double digits. What was it? 3%?
Should it have been double digits?
It was close.
The way they were talking about it, it was going to be. It was going to be a 9-1.
I do think that this is the point that people like Ari Fleischer and Eric Erickson are making, is that the downside of a strategy like this, that was started by Republicans and continued by Democrats, is that it doesn't matter how squeaky the win was. A win is a win, and power is power, and that's what's going to dominate in our politics now, and that's going to lead us down potentially a very dangerous road.
I agree, Abby. I think this is a bipartisan issue. I think that's something we can all agree on. What I just dislike is that the Democrats are acting like they're so self-righteous when it comes to gerrymandering. When both sides are doing it, both sides, we need to intervene because, like you just said, this is going to end up very, very ugly. If this is a war that both sides are trying to win against one another at the expense of the voters, we are the losers in the end.
Yeah, and to add to we're all talking about how the voters should decide, et cetera. The only reason why we're in this in the first place is because Donald Trump did not think that we were going to win the midterm elections. He did not want the voters to have their say in the midterm elections. What he wanted was to add seats so that he could, and Republicans could benefit from the midterm so he wouldn't have accountability. And that is a problem, and that's a conversation that we should be having because presidents moving forward are going to feel like they can do the exact same thing that Donald Trump did and set us off into a war in the midterm before a census. And I think he has set a terrible precedent for our country moving forward.
Wow, hot take.